Hey guys, what's going on? So yesterday on my stream, at approximately 108:58, if you want to actively go back and hear my reaction in real time, I got the question from Jeff Litwiller, who said, "Is Gadget meta?" And I asked him, "What does meta mean?" And he said, "Best." And then when pressed even more, what does best mean to you? He said, best for low-level talent people. Welcome to this video. This is a in-depth guide on what does meta mean and my definition of meta that I feel like you should probably adopt because I feel like meta is being thrown around for literally everything, and I feel like, especially in tier lists and in a game like this, where there is a lot of variance in this game, I feel like the word meta is being overly used now. In the same way that if you live in the movie sphere, the word woke is being described for literally every movie. Every movie with like a girl in it, that's a woke movie. Oh, your movie has a girl, it's woke. We don't like those women in our movies. That's woke. I feel like in that way, the word meta is being used about everything. It's not just a specific thing. It is used in every way, shape, or form, and nobody can determine what that means. So very specifically, because this person brought up what is Gadget meta? I don't think Gadget is even good. I don't think that a lot of people even use Gadget. What's funny is whenever you make a definitive statement online, there's always like 100 people that are very quick to say, "Oh no, Gadget's the best thing. It's used in every deck." And then you look up decks and you're like, I don't see it anywhere. Like I see Zeus and Necromancer and Mermaid and Mari and Snowflake, and almost nobody uses Gadget because people would probably rather use J over Gadget. Some people have said that Trainer with a item is even good. I just did a hero tier list where I said Bestie is probably one of the worst things, and Small Shamer was very quick to say that Bestie with the heroic item is pretty good. Like anytime you say any kind of definitive statement online, there will be people in your comment section that will go against you and say that you're completely wrong about your definitive statement, and this is why. This is all my evidence that you're completely wrong with that thing. So with that being said, the term meta is being used to describe anything. When I make a tier list and I have things at like the S tier, everything in that S tier I believe to be meta. That is the meta. And so the word, like the phrase meta, what does that mean to me? It means this is the best overall of everything. These are the best units for this in the game. These are the best things. Like if I said like Random League is gonna come out. What is the meta for Random League? Right? It's not just what's a deck for Random League. If I said like what is the meta for Random League, I'm talking about like the top 3 decks. Like maybe top 5. But it does not push into like, top 10, top 20. Because then you're just going into what is a deck. Name a deck in Random League. The meta is the best of the best. Like if I said, is Necromancer meta? Yes, because it is one of the best heroes. If somebody said, is Zeus meta? Yes, because it is one of the best heroes, or the best hero. Is Mermaid meta? Yeah, because it's one of the best heroes. Is Trickster meta? No. And then if somebody were to then rephrase and say, "Oh, but is Trickster the best meta hero for mana producing heroes?" Then that's not meta anymore. Right? The word meta it's the best of the best. It's just the term that people use. I've played a lot of different kinds of games. I play, like Magic the Gathering. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At some point. I played Call of Duty, right? In every single version of these things, if you said, what is the meta? That doesn't just mean what is the best low-level deck for people with less than $5. Like, that's not a meta. Right? The meta is the best of the best. It's like, what are the top players using? What are the 3 best decks that the top players are using? If you said, what's a meta gun in Call of Duty, you wouldn't name some like pistol, right? Unless a pistol was something that pro people are using, because that would be the meta, right? When you say meta, it's never like you coming up with some specific subcategory and is it of this meta. The meta is the best of the best. It's just another phrase, another way of saying what is the best of the best. What is like the top 5 of this thing, right? So first off, that's what I would like to say. If you use the word meta, and there is a definitive thing for that. Like, yes, the meta of regular PvP 24.1 regular play is different than, say, Random League. But in Random League, it's almost a completely different game mode, because all of the heroes are neutralized. Everything is the same. All of your equipment is standardized. All of your heroes are standardized. Everything in this mode is standardized, right? If I said, what is the meta for Royal Trials, like 5 months ago, I would have said either the Alchemist deck or the Lightning Mage deck. Both of those decks were very clearly the meta of Royal Trials. Because in that mode, it is different. It is a different meta than what regular PvP is. And in that meta, the best of the best, if you said what is the meta deck of Royal Trials, I would have said the Alchemist deck or the Lightning Mage deck, right? And there is no like, but what if? It's no, that is the best. There is no like, oh, but yeah, well, what is the best meta if you don't have those cards? Then you're just asking for what is a lesser deck than the best deck, and you are no longer asking for what is the meta. You're asking, if you say what is the meta, that is the best of the best. And in terms of, if your next question was, okay, well, now that we understand that, right? If we both understand that now, that is the definition of meta. If your next question is, okay, well then, what is the meta? Every single time I come out with a tier list, I always wait about like 1 or 2 weeks for everything to settle in, right? I will wait for like the best of the best players in this game to create decks, because I'm certainly not doing it. I don't have like maxed out everything. I don't have like max every legendary. I'm not extensively playing PvP. I don't have access to every single kind of gear item and, like every single kind of enchantment on all my gear. People at the top, they have access to triple gold counterspell. They have, on faction bonus for every type of faction. They have the ability to play with the best everything, to be able to fully test something at its best with the highest crit. Like if you had the best everything, they can test that. And they determine what is the best deck. And if you ever want to know, like if you ever feel the itch to like comment on some, like YouTube content creator for Rush Royale's post, and you want to ask the very simple question, what is the best deck right now? Like, what should I run? What is the best deck? What's the best deck in the game? There's a very easy way to answer that. And all you have to do is go into your settings, go into leaderboard, and this these are the top people with the top amount of trophies. These are the best of the best players. These are people pushing PvP until they get to 7,545 trophies, and we still have 23 more days. We still have this has been open for 7 days, and people are already at 7,000 trophies. They have fought against enough people to be at 7,000 trophies. If you go through this, you will see that the people, their PvP deck, it is technically the last deck that they just played in PvP. So if Fei Fan Fang decides to switch this out for something else, and he wants to try that out, it doesn't necessarily, it's not a guaranteed lock that this is the deck that person used to get to 7,545, but it probably is. Or it's just a very good deck. So take it with a grain of salt, but this is a Sea Dog Toxic deck, right? This is Spirit Master Banshee. This is Banshee, this is Bruiser, Necromancer. This is, Riding Hood Zeus, right? And if you just keep going down this list, you can figure out what is the meta. What do you see a whole lot of? If you just keep going down this, what heroes do you keep seeing? What units do you keep seeing? The fact that these people have every card in existence at max, every hero, every kind of equipment, the fact that they have all of this, max everything, heroic items, this is how you determine what is the meta. This is the meta. And if you wanted to be granular about it, and you wanted to try to figure out what is the meta at 4K, that's a different kind of story. That's a different, you have to, people, the reason why we don't determine what's the meta in League 3? What's the meta in League 4? What's the meta in League 2? What's the meta in Arena 5, right? Because you technically could say, what is the best thing at that point? But the problem with trying to go into that is that these people that are in League 7,000, you have the ability to fight against them as well. If you allow your PvP to search for more players, you have the ability to fight against these people as well. And it's a terrible system in PvP matchmaking, but that's an entirely different subject. What I'm saying is that it would be too difficult to determine what is the meta for a very specific league, because you have the ability in League 4 to fight somebody in League 6. So saying what the best deck for somebody in League 4 is, you would have to just say what the best deck in League, 3 to 7? You'd have to give a range. And that's so difficult to try to pinpoint, because you have the ability to fight against somebody well above you or well below you. And so that, it changes. And that is why I'm saying, whenever you say meta, whenever you say what is the meta right now, you can't try to fit that into your box that you're really asking the question of. If you're trying to say, I'm not in League 9, right? League 12. I'm not in League 12. What's the meta of League 5, right? That answer doesn't technically matter, because that answer will just be these answers. A Riding Hood deck, a Sea Dog Toxic deck, a Spirit Master deck. You might get a lesser version of these decks, but this is the meta. There is only one meta. And it is what is the best of the best. Maybe you're not dealing against somebody who has a level 20 Necromancer, but certainly a Sea Dog deck with a level 15 Necromancer is still going to be a meta deck in whatever format you're in. If you're in League 4, if you're in League 5, right? There is only one meta, and the meta is the answer to what is the meta. It is the best of the best. If you say, what is a meta hero? It's Necromancer, it's Zeus, it's Mermaid. It is certainly not Gadget. And you could say that in low talents and, oh, what if I have, only, the lowest of the low, and I only have a level 1 Gadget, and I only have a level 1 Trainer, and I only have a level 1 Jay, and I only have a level 1 Mari? What's the meta? It's very difficult to try to give you some advice, because all I know is what is the best of the best. Because if I tell you that in terms of, if everything was a level 1, I don't know, probably Trainer, probably Mari. I think both of those are kind of fine, right? But you would translate that and say, well, if the meta is Trainer, then I'm just not going to go for Zeus because it's not meta, right? At which point, that's a wrong answer. And I'd rather not give you misinformation, but you do have to get on my level of what is meta. And there is only one meta. It is what is the best of the best.